The Great Depression was a severe worldwide economic downturn. It took place mostly during the 1930s. In most countries, it started in 1929. It lasted until the late 1930s or early 1940s. It was the longest, deepest, and most widespread depression. Millions lost their jobs and their homes. Families struggled to find their next meal. The social fabric of nations frayed under the strain. The era tested the resilience of the human spirit. Understanding this time is crucial for us today. A series of interconnected factors led to the collapse. These included speculative bubbles and weak banking systems. International trade policies also played a significant role. The world economy was more linked than many realized. A crisis in one major nation could and did spread. This interconnectedness amplified the initial shocks. The Great Depression remains a stark reminder. Economic stability should never be taken for granted. The 1920s, often called the Roaring Twenties, seemed prosperous. In America, industrial output soared. New technologies like automobiles and radios became common. Many people experienced a rising standard of living. Cities grew and a new mass culture emerged. This optimism, however, masked underlying economic weaknesses. The prosperity was not evenly distributed across society. Farmers faced falling prices after World War I. European agriculture recovered, reducing demand for American exports. Many farmers had taken on large debts. They struggled to make payments as incomes dwindled. Rural poverty was widespread even during the boom. Another problem was the unequal distribution of wealth. A small percentage of the population held a large share of the income. The majority of families had limited purchasing power. They often resorted to buying goods on credit. This debt made the economy vulnerable to shocks. The stage was set for a dramatic reversal. The most famous trigger was the Wall Street crash of 1929. Stock prices had soared to unprecedented heights. This was fueled by speculation and buying on margin. People borrowed money to buy stocks, hoping prices would keep rising. This created a speculative bubble detached from real economic value. The crash began in late October 1929. October 24th became known as Black Thursday. Panic selling started and stock prices plummeted. Black Tuesday, October 29th, saw even greater losses. Billions of dollars in wealth vanished in days. The confidence that had defined the era shattered. The stock market crash had a ripple effect. It destroyed consumer and business confidence. People stopped spending, fearing for the future. Businesses cut back on production and investment. This led to layoffs and rising unemployment. Bank runs became common as fear spread. Banks, unable to meet the demand, began to fail. The downward spiral accelerated with frightening speed. Section 4. Dust, Despair, and a New Deal. Navigating the depths of depression. As the Depression deepened, unemployment soared. In the United States, it reached around 25% by 1933. Industrial production fell by nearly half. Homelessness became a widespread problem. Shantytowns, derisively called Hoovervilles, sprang up. People waited in long bread lines for food. The psychological toll was immense. Many felt a sense of shame and hopelessness. The American dream seemed to have died. A devastating environmental disaster compounded the misery. This was the Dust Bowl in the Great Plains. Years of unsustainable farming practices had damaged the land. When severe drought struck in the 1930s, the topsoil turned to dust. Massive dust storms or black blizzards swept the region. Farms were ruined and livelihoods destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of people, known as Okies, were forced to migrate. They sought work and a new life, often in California. In 1932, Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected president. He promised a New Deal for the American people. The New Deal's impact is still debated by historians. Roosevelt's leadership offered a sense of hope. Section 5. A World in Turmoil, the Depression's Global Grasp. The Great Depression quickly became a global phenomenon. Countries reliant on raw material exports were hit hard. Prices for commodities like coffee, rubber, and tin collapsed. This devastated economies in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. Industrialized nations also suffered greatly. Germany faced hyperinflation and mass unemployment. Economic chaos contributed to the rise of extremist movements. France, initially less affected, succumbed by the mid-1930s. International trade plummeted and many countries adopted protectionist policies. The Depression had profound political consequences globally. Section 6. Voices from the Brink, personal echoes of hardship and resilience. Behind the economic statistics were millions of individual stories. These stories reveal the human cost of the Depression. Consider the words of an unemployed man in Chicago. "I've been walking the streets for months, my wife and kids are hungry, I'd do any work, anything at all, but there's nothing. It's like we're invisible." This sentiment was echoed in countless households. The dignity of work was stripped away from many. A sense of helplessness became pervasive. Personal letters and diaries from the era paint a vivid picture. A mother in Oklahoma wrote about the Dust Bowl. "The dust is everywhere, in our food, our water, our lungs. The children cough all night. We pray for rain, but only the dust comes. We lost the farm. I don't know where we'll go." These accounts highlight the desperation and fear, yet they also show incredible resilience. Families pulled together, sharing what little they had. Communities organized mutual aid efforts. Section 7. Echoes in modern times, lasting legacies and lessons learned. The Great Depression left an indelible mark on the world. Governments began to intervene more actively. The laissez-faire approach was discredited. Social safety nets like Social Security became permanent. The idea of a welfare state gained traction. Major financial reforms were introduced. Regulations aimed to prevent reckless speculation. Deposit insurance protected savers. Central banks were given clearer mandates. The Bretton Woods Agreement established a new international monetary system. These measures aimed to prevent a repeat of the 1930s catastrophe.